Hello, parents, guardians, and family members. My name is Mr. Carey, and I am your student's Science 7 teacher, Fine Arts teacher, or Horticulture teacher. One of the three. Um, I know you guys are busy, and I know that you probably don't want to stick around for a long time watching all of these videos, so I'm going to try to keep things fairly simple. Um, Let me start off by introducing myself. Again, I'm Mr. Carey, and my educational background is both in art education and science education. I have my bachelor's degree from Cal State Long Beach in art education and my science education degree from Lesley University, and that's for my master's. Um, I love science. I love making art, and I love gardening. So I feel like I'm a really good fit for all of these different classes. Um, I also really love the ocean and surfing, and that's kind of rounds me out. Um, I'd like to first start talking about Google Classroom since we're starting the year virtually. This is our classroom space, and this is where we meet every day. So what you're seeing right now is what our class space looks like online. It says Science 7 Period 1, but this is how all of my classrooms, my Google Classrooms are set up regardless of the subject area. Um, the stream is essentially the homepage. And if you scroll down, you will see the Science 7 syllabus or syllabus for whichever class that your student might be in. And hopefully they've already shared that with you. You've read through it with them, and given a virtual signature. If you haven't, please take an opportunity at some point this evening to do so. All right, right here is a reminder I sent students about role and attendance, and it's directly tied into what I'm going to go over as our process for signing on to class. So the first thing that students do when they get to Google Classroom, and hopefully they're getting here about 5 minutes early. I recommend at least 5 minutes early just because computers lag and can be a little bit slow, and I'd rather your students be a little early than a little late because then they can miss some information. But they get here 5 minutes early. The first thing that they will want to do is click on this Meet link. This takes you to Google Meet. This is where I get to see students, communicate with students, and they can communicate back with me. Then next step, so that's step 1. Step 2 is clicking on the classwork tab. And when they click on the classwork tab, they will see daily lessons. It doesn't matter which subject it is for, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see daily lessons. And then the most current lesson is the one that's going to be at the top. So for example, we see 910 Science 7 lesson. It could be 910 Fine Arts lesson or Horticulture lesson. They click this link. This takes them to Pear Deck. Pear Deck is an app that shares slides with students, and I can walk them through the lesson through these Pear Deck slides. Additionally, this is where all of our activities are going to be linked through. So it is super important that students do that 2-step process, signing on to Google Meet and signing on to the Pear Deck slides, the daily lessons Pear Deck slides. They can also access the Meet through here, as well as the Google Calendar and Class Drive folder. The reason why they would want to access Google Calendar is because they can see their due dates for things, as well as the Class Drive folder, which is where all of the assignments that they turn in are collected. So they can see what they have turned in or what they have not turned in through Google Classroom. All right, so in terms of my general expectations of students in our virtual classroom in Google Meet, I expect students to first and foremost have their cameras on. There may be some underlying reasons for them not doing so, but if there is a reason for them not to have their cameras on, I hope to either get an email from parent, guardian, or family member to help explain as to why they're not able to show themselves. The reason I'm so adamant about students showing themselves on Google Meet is because it creates a more personal connection, not only for them, but also for me, as well as their peers in the classroom. Being able to connect this way helps a lot rather than just seeing a blank screen on the other end. Additionally, when students are in Google Meet, it is very important that their microphones are turned off. Now, their microphones aren't going to be turned off for the entirety of class, hopefully, but when they come into the classroom, having their microphones turned off reduces the class noise. Technology is really spotty, and when a bunch of microphones are on, they pick up a bunch of different sounds and noises, and so having them off initially really settles things down. There will be opportunities for class discussion, and I will ask students to turn their mics on. It's a pretty simple process, and most students are really adept at this. Additionally, students are expected to use the chat box to talk about anything that's going on in class or any questions I might be asking about. I'd love to hear their responses or any questions they may have for me. The chat box is not a space for students to be just having conversations, side conversations, not related to classwork with other students. I'm also recording all of my lessons. The reason why I'm recording all of my lessons is because I want to maintain a document of what has happened for students who are absent, but also as kind of a class discipline tool to make sure everyone is on their best behavior in a sense. I don't do anything with these lessons unless a parent or student requests one because either they were absent or there is some sort of student discipline issue that needs to be reviewed. If you have any questions about me recording videos or recording class sessions, please let me know, or you can always contact the front office. All right, so I've talked about Google Classroom. I've talked about myself, some expectations. What do I got next? Okay, turning things in on Google Classroom. So all assignments that are turned in are going to be turned in through Google Classroom. You'll notice not only daily lessons, but you'll also see weekly materials and projects. Students turn in projects right here under the projects tab, and for whatever the project is, they will turn it in. So I can see who has turned in assignments and who has not turned in assignments. If you join as a guardian for Google Classroom, you will also get notifications about if your student has turned something in or if they have missed a deadline. I think that's all I've got really to share with you. Oh, except for weekly materials. Weekly materials, I'm going to try to post weekly household materials that are just that. They're materials that are found around the house that hopefully most people have in their homes. But even if you don't, there will be an alternative material list provided as well. Or if those aren't available, we can always have a conversation through email or with your student about what they can do instead. More often than not, I'm going to be providing, or I'm going to be modeling lessons and modeling expectations on my end, so students should be able to see exactly what it is that they need to have for class. I can be contacted through email, at carrie.collint, or wrong email. I can be contacted at carrie.collin@tusd.org. And if any of you have any additional questions, you can not only email me, but also meet me Tuesday evening for the Google Meet, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that maybe an email just can't sort out. But I'm really excited about this year. I'm excited to have your students in my class. And I think we're going to have a great year despite all of this craziness that's going on. So that's it. Hope you guys have a great evening.